Kia ora e te iwi and welcome to The Chew, coming at you from Kāmuriwai here in Arrowtown, ko Arrowtown Dad tēnei, and today we have back our local political commentator, Alexa Forbes. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Nice to be here, nice to see you.
We're sort of focusing once again on our political situation of the day, of the week, of the month, of the year. And we're going to focus on another topic of conversation, one that's quite close to your heart, I believe, which is, for this chat, we're going to have a chat about Labour's public transport fare cap. And I was hoping you could kind of help explain that whole situation, and maybe let's get into the pros and cons of what it is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In my view, predictably, I think it's a brilliant policy.
Yep.
I think it's the best one they've come up with for a long, long time.
Okay.
And certainly our council at ORC, when I was on the ORC, we were looking at exactly this, trying to cap it so that you take pressure off people that are using a public transport system, and you make it more attractive to people that might use it if they had a fare cap.
Right.
And so that's what it's about, and especially for people that have got 2 or 3 kids or whatever, and kids using it, it makes really, really good sense. So and it's a very cheap policy. And I know David Seymour's come in with dodgy sums, by the way. Those sums don't work the way he's doing them.
They always calculate everyone else's policies.
Yeah, and it's I really don't like the way he's calculated that. He's taken a simple equation of all the people that could possibly benefit getting the maximum benefit from that, and multiplied those together, which just isn't a fair way of doing it.
Isn't a practical
No,
example.
It's not. So, and independent economists have priced it somewhere between what Labour says it'll cost and even a little less, up to about 100 million. So even at 100 million, man, that's as cheap as chips when it comes to transport. And I think one of the things to think about here is that one road of national significance will cost more like $20 billion.
Yeah.
So
right.
that's 1,000. You know, when a billion is 1,000 million. So you start thinking about that, and you know, you could give everybody free public transport and have an absolutely gold-plated public transport system for one road of national significance. So you need to kind of think about it in those terms.
So if I can strip it right back to its simplest form, what is it? So it's called a cap, a fare cap.
Yeah.
Does that mean if you ride public transport, you would only ever pay a maximum of a certain amount?
Yes.
Over what period?
A week.
Over a week.
So you would only ever pay $20 a week if you're in Auckland, Wellington or Christchurch, $10 a week everywhere else, like here.
Really?
So that just really encourages people to use the bus.
Yeah.
But what the critics aren't factoring into it, and actually isn't factored into Labour's costing either, is the climate change savings, the health savings, because every public transport trip starts with active transport.
Yeah,
you got to walk out your door and down the road to the bus stop or whatever, and then whatever.
And a lot of the buses are electric as well, aren't they?
They're getting electric around the country. Yes, certainly most of the ones in the main cities are, and we're starting to get them at ORC too. We haven't got them in Dunedin yet, but in Queenstown yet, but they're coming.
Yeah.
I think by the end of this year the first ones are coming, but don't quote me on that. Just did. Never mind. And $10 everywhere else. So it'll just cost you $10 to get everywhere. Which, you know, if you've got a couple of kids in a household, man, doesn't that make a difference?
So the costings, do these costings also take into account that through the extra use of public transport, we're going to require extra drivers, extra infrastructure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be capacity issues, and it'll be interesting to see what that is. And I heard somebody the other day from Auckland Transport saying Auckland Transport's at about 40% capacity. So there's a lot of capacity there.
Right. Already. Right.
And certainly we have capacity too. Of course, that capacity will not be at the right times. So you're going to have rush hour problems and school hour problems and things like that. But, you know, bringing public transport, we absolutely know, there's no research that counters this at all, that public transport is a key policy, and encouraging of public transport is key to climate change risks. It's key to managing climate change, to managing people's health, to all sorts of things, to managing congestion. Almost every bum on a public transport seat is one car off the road. Okay, because almost all cars have only one person in them. Something like 89% of cars have one person in them. So you're saving a lot of congestion if you can get a decent amount of people on buses, and you're cutting your climate emissions accordingly.
Yeah.
So there's the cost-benefit ratio, which hasn't been calculated actually, because it's a complex one to calculate and hasn't been calculated. But you can imagine that the drivers of that cost-benefit ratio would show a lot of benefit.
And so, like, if you're playing devil's advocate, can you see any downside to this policy? Can you see, any potential issues? And I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Well, you've got a capacity issue, and it can cost a lot of money if you've suddenly got to put on more buses and find more buses to put on, or you've got to start increasing bus lanes and things like that. So there will be capacity issues,
right.
but for every capacity issue that you find in public transport, you're reducing your capacity issues on the main roads, right?
Right.
Because you've got fewer people in cars.
Yeah.
And so I would have thought that you could actually massage that around. And of course, Nationals counter. They say that the National Land Transport Fund is already oversubscribed, which it is. So all of this
What does that mean?
The National Land Transport Fund, every council in the country, they, or the regional councils or unitary authorities, whatever, they bring their transport projects, their wish list, into something that's called a regional land transport program.
Right.
And then they submit that to NZTA, the National Land Transport Fund, and that fund allocates all the money from your fuel taxes.
Right.
So it gives everything a priority,
right.
And everything above the priority line and the budget line gets done. Everything below it just gets canned or pushed down the road. So that's basically how that works. And public transport improvements are within that fund. So you'd have to fund this mostly from people's fuel taxes. So National's saying that fund is already oversubscribed, but the thing is that National's saying that because it's promising roads of national significance that cost absolutely millions.
Billions.
Billions, absolutely billions, exactly. And this is only maximum $100 million project.
I got it. So
That's
it's not about increasing the subscription to this fund. It's about better using what's already in that fund.
Well, I think so, but I think you'd have to take out a road of national significance, and that of course won't be popular among people who want to see those roads built. Well, which ones would you take out? Would you take out Northland?
Why not?
Well, I don't know.
Why not?
But these are the things.
Aren't we pouring billions into the roads up there already?
Yeah, it'll be the Northland Expressway, one regional corridor. It's one of New Zealand's most expensive infrastructure projects ever, but priced between 15.3 and 18.3 billion, which means you won't see any change out of 20 billion. And the full Northland delivery strategy to 2039 is 22 billion.
Here's a question. It blows my mind how expensive it is to build roads, right?
Yep.
Are there any tenders that go out, or are these the same companies that keep getting the same contracts and charging the same increased prices?
And this is something that that councils and governments have failed to get on top of for years. And a lot of commentators say that we pay so far over the odds for our infrastructure projects, and we probably do. I don't know how you go about fixing that. They are tendered, yes, but of course that's through the government tendering process. That is
meaning whoever lobbies the government gets the tender.
No, doesn't
really
actually mean that, but I'm sure there is a lot of lobbying that goes on. But I think what we can really look at is the cost of this particular project at 65 million a year. It's less than 1% of the Land Transport Fund.
Before you said 100 million. So what's
well, 100 million. Commentators are saying that
worst case scenario, it's
the worst
100 million.
case scenario is 100 million.
Right. But
So
the
it's
actual
still
costing was more like
65 million
Right,
is the actual
okay.
costing per year. And that's less than 1% of the fund. And imagine the number of people that would
that can be
benefit from
affected.
that
Yeah.
compared to the number of people that might benefit from 100 million invested into one of those roads of national significance, of which 100 million won't even see the detailed plans done. So,
Yeah, it's about balance, right? So the talking point is you can't pay for that because we've got to go and pay for a road.
yeah.
But the balance is, but that road cost 1,000 times as much as what this fund would cost.
Many thousands,
Yeah.
20,000 times more. And it benefits
And it benefits the
far
vast
fewer
majority.
people, whereas the bus cap will benefit many people.
Yeah.
Of course, there's people that. The other thing about the bus concept, that what I really like about that policy is it starts to build our bus network. I mean, we've really got, well, not just buses, our public transport network, because it's ferries and trains and everything. And it has the opportunity to really start building that, because the other thing that's not really calculated is how many people spending $20 a week and how much does that come out over a year. So will it cost less the next year, or will there be more to invest because of that $20 a week that more people are spending?
Actually, so part of the costing, I assume they take into it the 20 and the $10 that you're getting back.
Well, I'm not sure. We haven't seen those full costings, and they're not actually. I went looking for the full costings, but I haven't got them.
Yeah, because it's easy to think that there's nothing coming in. That it's easy to look at this whole thing as just a giveaway, right?
Yeah.
But
it's
there's
not.
still some bucks coming in.
There's still some bucks coming in,
Yeah.
and it's like any of those things that take a small amount of money from people, they add up to a lot of money if a lot of people use them. Look at any app that you use or streaming service, etc. And it's that applies to public transport as well. So the chance. A policy like this gives us the chance to move from rudimentary public transport to proper grown-up public transport that can spread throughout the country.
So here's the thing, given how passionate you feel about this particular policy, then I would assume that you might consider voting for the Opportunity Party, because their policy is it's free.
Free public transport doesn't stack up as well.
Why?
And I know a lot of people talk about free public transport, and I think it possibly should be free for children or for under 18s or students.
Yeah.
But free public transport.
But what's the difference or the only difference is you're not getting that $10, $20 cap that was coming back.
Why isn't Spotify free?
What?
Well, it's like a streaming service.
That's a private company though, right?
Yeah, but you've got to operate on some of those models, right? And you've got to think about that you've got to have money coming in. You've got to have people valuing it. You've got to put a value on it. You've got to keep money coming in so that you're not subsidising the entire service. That just becomes too expensive. Where does that money come from? You're not looking for 100 million in a year. How much are you looking for? A lot more than 100 million.
Well, I don't know, because wouldn't it be a case of having the same argument that the road that cost $1 billion versus free public transport, not the cap $10, $20 public transport? Wouldn't it be just, aren't you squabbling over like tens of millions here?
Well, you probably are, but at the moment we're only talking 1 million, 100 million instead of 1,000 million, a billion. No, 10,000 million would be a billion. So you're squabbling. I mean, how much, we'd have to know how many people ride public transport regularly in New Zealand, how many are likely to. Now, we do have some sums on that. Mm-hmm. We know that for every 10% of increase or decrease in cost, you get around about 4% increase or decrease in patronage. So you can kind of calculate how many people will use public transport and how much it will go up, the use of public transport. And then you times that by your $20 and you start getting your income, and you find that actually there's quite a lot of money there.
Yeah.
It would be a much more, I think free, nice, but no banana in my case.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I take the point that getting people to commit just a little bit to something will only then it forces only the people who have real buy-in to the thing to turn up for it. Whereas if you offer it free to anyone, then yeah, there's no real ownership taken by the people who are going to be the consumers, then it'll be a entitlement that they feel like they're just entitled to all the time. You would get, you get these super entitled Karens turning up and demanding this and demanding that. Whereas if you're paying a small sum, I suspect you might weed those types of people out.
And you have the ability to improve your service if you have some money coming in over and above your subsidy. It's very hard to run things on subsidy alone. It's very hard to maintain a decent level of service, to maintain cleanliness and good, drivers. We fought really hard to get drivers paid a living wage off minimum wage.
Yeah.
And things like that will fall back if you get a free service, just because they do. People don't respect free as well, apart from the fact that you need something coming in. To be entirely subsidised, I don't think is the right way. And we did look at that. We did model fully free public transport in Dunedin. There's a lot of people that believe that we should have fully free public transport.
Yeah.
I think it should be free for children, possibly even students.
Yeah.
But beyond that,
people.
and what it already is.
Yeah.
For superannuitants, and that's all probably good.
Yep.
But beyond that, I think it needs to be paid for.
Cool. So, thank you. Any final thoughts on this? The Labour's public transport fare cap.
I think it's the best policy they've come up with for a very long time. I like it. It's well thought out. They've been thinking about it for a long time. Some people say it's just been pulled out of the hat. Many councils have been able to inform them on this. ORC is one of those councils, and they've done a good job of listening to the councils that run public transport systems and understanding what's needed. And I think they've come up with the right price and the right balance. Perfect.
Well, on that note, I think we'll leave this episode there. There's a very quick, short chat. We're trying to make these chews more targeted around particular political issues at the moment. So, yeah, that's us for this one. So I'm sure you liked that. And if you did, can you please pop a like down below here? Remember to subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time on The Chew. Mā te wā.